Sunday. Hope you're doing all right out there. Well, I just got done beating some guy from Brazil's ass in chess. Online, chess.com. I got him with the old classic Queen King pin. You chess players out there know what that's all about. It's just a Sunday. Old Larry's just chilling, taking it easy today. I was going to address something I've been thinking about talking about for a while now, but I tend to shy away from the videos that talk about gear too much, as I want to keep this channel focused on playing. But I do get lots of gear questions, and one of the questions I get more than anything is not just from homeschoolers, it's from friends of mine, session buddies and stuff. They always say, Jesus, Larry, does it ever drive you up a wall that so many players in Nashville have the same pedal board you do and seem to copy my pedal board? You know, it's that old saying, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. I tend to err on the side of that. You know, look, man, I appreciate it. Hey, if I've copied people, Lord, we've all copied people. I'm not acting like I'm, you know, some guy's totally original. But, you know, sometimes I just go, man, come on, guys. Try, you know, find some of your own shit, like I did, okay? Let me just tell you my quick, this was the journey that I went on. In a minute, I'm gonna show you a couple of the pedal boards that I have, okay? And I'm gonna explain a couple things that I probably have never talked about regarding my thoughts about pedal boards. Now, in the early days of sessioneering, okay, and I'm talking like mid-90s when I first started goofing with this stuff, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I've always had a really strong ear for guitar, what a guitar is supposed to sound like. But in my early days of being a session man, I had no idea how to get there. I literally struggled for years to try to get some of the sounds that I heard in my head. I was so far off the mark. I was trying all kind of crazy shit, trying to get a sound that like I heard on records, right? And I knew it wasn't right. I would try stuff. I'd get really excited about trying this amp or this pedal. This is gonna work. And I'd get in the studio and it sounds like shit. So many times I would call older session guys. I would say, what are you guys doing? How do you get it to sound right? You know, a lot of it was more than anything. I was learning how to touch a guitar. See, that's the thing that people don't ever talk about. Like, if you don't know how to get a lot of different shades of touch out of a guitar in the studio, it doesn't matter what gear you're playing. It's gonna sound like shit anyway. So I was working with that, trying to get that together, and also experimenting with lots of gear and failing miserably. Okay. I just was lost, and I had no idea how to get anything to sound right, and I was trying everything. And the reason I ended up using the shit that I use religiously now, each one of those pieces was like was a discovery. The first time I ever tried a no balls, it was a massive discovery, game changer. You know, the first time I ever tried, there were some legendary pedals along the way that they were like landmarks for me. I don't know, I discovered some legendary amps that were my first forays into tone, right? And like, for example, I remember one of the first times I ever closed the door where the cabinet was, put on some headphones, played a chord and went, yes, that's what I've been trying to do, was when I got an old matchless HC30 head, you know. Tried that for the first time. I remember, well, that's what I'm fucking hearing. And then I discovered, you know, how great that mixed with the deluxe reverb. And that was my rig for a long time. Then I started getting into the tweed thing. But I'm gonna get back to pedals. Each one of these pedals that I ended up using along the way, stuff that I still use, was a major discovery. I had this little side business where I would go around to all my session buddies and I would say, you've probably got a lot of gear you want to sell, right? And they'd say, yes, tons of it. And I would say, well, I have a little eBay business where I'll sell all your gear for you. Just give me 15% commission. And they were like, great, come and get it. And I had a van, garage, nothing but time, no kids to worry about. So I would just go pick up these massive hauls of gear and it would all be out in my garage. And I would randomly sell it off on eBay and give the guys their money. People loved it. I was doing that a lot. I built up like thousands of feedbacks on eBay doing that years ago. So during the time I had the gear, I had all this shit laying in my garage. And I would randomly take stuff that looked interesting, take it to sessions, plug it in. Sometimes I'd go, ugh. And every once in a while, I would plug in something that I thought was never going to work and it sounded amazing. So what you do is you learn how to be a session guy. You collect. You remember everything that ever worked. It sounded great when I did this and I plugged this into this. You know, you remember all that stuff. And then I slowly started amassing this collection of pedals that really worked in the heat of battle, on the track with the band, which is the thing. A lot of shit sounds great in your bedroom or in a music store, but when you take it to the gig, it doesn't make it, right? So anytime I discovered any kind of overdrive pedal or anything that actually worked on a record and sounded the way I wanted it to sound, I remembered it and I kept it. Like I remember when I got a hold of the old yellow Boss dual overdrive, I think it's called an SD2. That was one of the pedals I used early on for really mild, clean, dirty, and it sounded great. I remember messing around with like Roger Mayer Voodoo 1 back in those days. I always hated tube screamers, and I still do. I remember getting the Hughes and Kettner Rotosphere. That was a big move for me. Game changer. I remember getting, really just goofing around with different volume pedals, because the volume pedal has always been a part of my thing. Like I can't really play without a volume pedal. It's a whole thing with me. But learning how to get that right, and I finally discovered how to get that really cooking where it doesn't kill a ton of signal. The Boss EQ pedal was a huge thing for me when I discovered that. What else was along the way? Lots of stuff. And some of the stuff came and went, right? When I first discovered the King of Tone, that was a cool thing. The Line 6 M9 was something that I stole from all the other session players. All the other guys were using the Line 6 M9, and I thought forever, I'm thinking like, I'm not going to have anything Line 6 on my pedal board. You know, I was a snob about it. I thought Line 6 stuff was a joke. And then I finally tried one, and I was like, oh, I get it. It's awesome. And I still use those to this day. It's a great pedal. People talk shit on that all day long, but it's a fucking great pedal. So each one of these things was, a step, right? And I'll try to find there's a couple early Pedalboard photos on the net of some of my early forays, when I really was just getting it together. My friend Rick DeLima, who watches the videos, hey Rick, he used to make me pedalboards. These were all homemade shit back in those days. He made me pedal boards. Like we would make boards in his garage, and he covered them in carpet, and we would just goof around trying different stuff, and it was great. Lots of fun along the way. And then I ended up, after years of doing it, with stuff that is just it's so solid, right? It works so good for me in the way I play that I just end up using that stuff all the time. And I still experiment with new stuff all the time. But those staples, the main things that have helped me all these years are, never going away. I have 5 different pedal boards at this point. I just counted them. I use them all. I have a tiny one that I drag in a suitcase. I have a real small one right here that I use for the videos. I have a medium-sized one that I drag around to demo sessions when I don't have cartage. And I've got a slightly bigger one that I used on the Ann Wilson gig, and any touring gig that I get, that's specifically for that. And then I've got the massive one that goes to my cartage. This seems like a lot, I know, but I actually need them all, which is crazy to think about. And they all are a slight bit different, but there's hallmarks on each of those boards that's always going to be there. I have to have. Here's a couple of the keys to what I need on a pedal board, okay? There has to be incremental 3 or 4 sometimes 5 incremental stages of gain that have to build up slowly. There has to be EQ, usually 2 delays. There has to be some kind of reverb trail device. And there has to be a volume pedal with the Vertex boost thing with the TRS cable. That's what I always have. I have that on everything, and I need that. That works. So let me show you a couple, and we'll start talking about that. I might have to do this video in 2 parts because it's going to get long, and you know how bad my internet is here. It's terrible. I'm going to bust out 2 boards, and I'll show you a couple things. All right, hang on. Okay, friends. So this is the mid-size board that I drag around to demos when I don't have cartage, okay? It's in an old road case that I've had to rebuild 3 or 4 times. All the hallmarks of a Uncle Larry board are here, okay? You got your 3 incremental gain stages, which is a key. You've got the Vertex boost, which plugs via a TRS cable to this expression pedal, acting as your volume. Which, if you don't do that, you should do that. It works great. You got your G7. These don't have to be modded, but it's nice if they are. The classic M9, which is amazing. The best tremolo pedal ever made by a mile. And the Keeley Halo, which I love. And I'm just kind of getting to know this thing. This is kind of a new addition, okay? So that's, and then there's a few extraneous extra pedals that, you know, I just randomly sort of float in and out. Here's what I would use for like a touring gig, okay? Second largest board. Same thing. All the incremental gain stages, right? But it's got the big box wrap, which is nice to have. This board doesn't have this is the only board I have that doesn't use the Vertex TRS thing, but I probably should convert it. Another M9. This is the only timeline I have on any board, and I like this pedal okay, but if something happened to it, I wouldn't be too bummed. El Capistan, which I would rather be a Brigadier, but I'll get one day. And I love this Mellotron pedal, but it's a luxury. So there you go. So this board is great. XTS made this. It's got stereo ins and outs. It's got phase switch, a ground lift switch. It's just great. This is pro shit. Those guys are amazing. If you're out there in Nebraska and you want somebody to make you a nice pedal board, you gotta call XTS. They don't mess around. So there you go, friends. That's how I do it. And hopefully that helps somebody out there. Okay. And part 3, what the hell? And one thing that is nice about this touring board here, Ebo talked me into having a pro casemate, where you lift the board up and you got, look at that, all that nice storage there. See, Ebo said, man, if I'm gonna be your tech, can you please make me a decent case? I said, sure, buddy. And then here's that other board like that I'll just throw in a suitcase. It's amazing, like for the Ursay gigs or when I'm going to, you know, LA for something. Throw this in the suitcase, the bare essentials, okay? And I've been using this with it, like when I did the Joe Walsh gig, you know, that Vetsay gig. This pedal is fucking awesome, by the way. Buy one of those immediately. So there you go. The smallest of the Uncle Larry boards. Hope you enjoy, friends. Oh, hell. We can't stop there. Might as well throw this on, too. This is the board I use to make the videos with the looper. See, friends? Still has all the hallmarks of the typical Uncle Larry board with the 3, count them 3, incremental gain stages. Another El Capistan that I wish was a Brigadier. And you know how I feel about that Flint. That thing's got to go immediately. I cannot stand that pedal. So if anybody out there has a couple of Brigadiers they want to trade for a couple of El Capistans, please let me know. But yeah, this is a good looper, by the way. Cheap and cool and easy to use. And there you have it, friends. This is a cool pedal too. Tuner built in, quite nice. All right, dudes, See you next time.